What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to talk about the biggest mistake that I see people making when it comes to manifesting their goals, achieving their goals, whether you want to look at through a spiritual lens, through a psychological lens, whatever is clever, okay? The biggest thing that's stopping people is this thing, and I'm going to break it down for you guys. I'm going to start off by giving you guys a little story first. Story time. All right, so back in the day, I don't remember, however many years ago BC this was, but back again, where the land and the times of Alexander the Great, right? He was out there conquering. I'm sure that you are well aware, or at least familiar with some of his conquests. He had conquered most of the modern world at the time. And he was going around, he was looking for a place to build a city, right? He was going and looking for the best spot. He had found this place that had the right access to water, it had the best soil, it had the best access to the ports, and it was in the best location, prime for all the different territories that he had been conquering and what have you. And basically, he was wondering, and now back at this time, right, everybody was very superstitious, okay? Everybody was, that people would use psychics and mediums and things like this. So he had these seers, right? And he would go and ask these seers what they thought about various decisions that he was making, big decisions like this one. And so he asked these seers, he said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay these breadcrumbs here to mark the territory, to lay down a footprint of where the lines of the city are going to be. But what happened was that over the next day, I think it was in the morning, the following morning after he woke up, the birds had eaten up all the breadcrumbs, and he didn't know what to make of this, right? And so he asked the seers, what does this mean? And so the seers went back and they had a little powwow, and they came back to him and they said, this isn't bad news. This is actually great news. They said, this is a sign that your city of Alexandria is going to be the most abundant city, and people are going to flock to the city just like these birds did. And so that was his interpretation of what had happened, right? And a lot of people could have seen this situation as, the birds ate the bread. The bread was supposed to signify, marking the territory, right? They could have taken it like a negative. And the point of the story being is that, yes, he went to go see these seers, and they were the ones that told him that actually they did this positive reframe for him, right? That actually this is amazing news. This has the best meaning behind it. And we don't really go see, psychics and mediums nowadays. People are still, you might say that there is a certain amount of superstition that exists, or certain people, people like to look at angel numbers and things like this. But for the most part, people are pretty, people don't operate in the same way that they did at that time, right? There's not as much superstition in the culture today. But what we can do is we can be our own seers. We can be our own interpreters, right? We can have that interpretation awareness, what it's called in psychology, to evaluate a situation and see every single situation for how it's actually benefiting us. Not seeing the negative in the situation, but how is this actually benefiting us? And it's important to be objective in our looking and evaluating of these various situations, right? But it's also important to look at, okay, even if I have this quote unquote negative situation, or this quote unquote sign that this might not be, this didn't go how I intended, this didn't go how I planned for it. Well, how is this actually leading me on a path to success? And again, this goes back to your belief systems. Do you think that Alexander the Great, being the great conqueror that he was, had any doubt in his mind of how much of a powerful person he was? He was probably pretty detached about the situation. He was probably like, what, if it doesn't work out here, if these seers tell me that this isn't the spot, I got another spot just down the road. Or I got another spot in another country that I just planted my flag in. And I'm about to go, wherever the crop looks ripe for the taking, right? Wherever looks best for planting down my, building my city, wherever it looks best. And so this type of detached attitude, of course, he built this upon a lot of evidence. He built a lot of evidence of his capability and his competence and his power. But we have the power to do that in our own lives today. We have the power to look at situations and say, how is this actually in my benefit? And again, this all comes back to your cognitive biases, which are based on your beliefs and your belief systems. And that is why I have that ebook down there below for you guys to download that goes into giving you the tools to identify those belief systems, giving you the tools to root out those negative beliefs, plant the positive ones in there, instill and install that new operating system, which is going to then get you on this path where you're having the cognitive biases are operating at your advantage, not to your disadvantage. So even when you go into any situation that doesn't work out how you wanted, say you face a rejection, say you face a job didn't work out, could be a personal thing, doesn't freaking matter, because now I'm finding something even better. And that's just your natural go-to modus operandi, because you don't really fucking care. And that's what you notice with a lot of people that you see that are successful in whatever realm, is that they go into situations, you could be a guy, like I go out with guys sometimes, and the best guys that go out and the guys that are the best, most successful when it comes to talking with women and speaking with women, they could get rejected, and then 2 seconds later, they're talking to a different girl. They're talking to her friend. Now all of a sudden they got rejected, but now their friend's looking like, wait, what? Like my friend likes him, so maybe I'm the one that made a mistake, right? And that's the type of attitude that you have when you go into these situations. You know your value. You know not only your value, but you know where you're going. You have that certainty, that calm assuredness in where you're going, where where life is taking you, the path that you're on, the decisions that you're making, everything about you, that you are on that path towards success, and you're not going to allow some birds to ruin the party, or some little rejection to stop the party, or anybody else that's trying to bring you down, bring your energy down, or tell you anything, or doubt you, instill doubt into you. You're going to get rid of those people. Either those people, you're not going to run into them as much, or you're going to run into them and you're going to just like, it's just like, psh, like the energy is just like you just bat it out away from yourself, because it doesn't even affect you, right? And so that's the point that you want to be at, is when you run into situations, like I said, that aren't necessarily your ideal situation. They look like negatives, like the 3D looks negative, right? But you're actually just interpreting it through this positive lens. Well, okay, well, actually, this is leading me to my success anyways. How is this leading me more and more to my success, into the version of myself I'm supposed to be, into the life that I'm supposed to live, and into that new reality and version of myself? Anyways, guys, a little bit of a mouthful there. But that's the key, right? Is knowing that, going into that and doing it in that way where you then see it for the situation, and you see the dry land. You see through the muddy water. You see the dry land ahead. And you're always looking towards that dry land. You're not getting caught in the swampy shit on the path, because there will always be some stuff like that is on the path towards where we want to go. There's always going to be some stuff like that. Anyways, guys, much love as always. Drop this video with a like, hit me with a subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video.